Hello YouTube and welcome to my channel. Today is the 1st of January 2026 and this video is for anybody who is on the alcohol-free journey, whether that be you are thinking about quitting alcohol, whether you're thinking about doing dry January, dry September, dry any month really, whether you are a few days in, maybe you've started the process and you're a few days, few weeks, few months, even a few years. This video is for you. Now, this is my first video that I'm going to post on this channel, and I'm going to pin it there as the first video to explain, I guess, what the channel is about. And it's something that I've been wanting to do probably from the beginning of my personal alcohol-free journey. And I guess at this point it's probably best to talk about me and my personal alcohol-free journey. I'm 23 months. It's going to be 2 years basically very soon, and so nearly 2 years of being alcohol-free, and it's amazing. That's in a nutshell. And the reason why I want to do some videos and share some content on the topic is largely because I've leaned on this. I've leaned on content like this for probably the majority of the last 3-4 years. So that's well before I kind of permanently stopped. So this type of content has helped me immeasurably, really, in terms of keeping me on track, giving me insight into what my life might look like, if I quit alcohol. It gave me the proof, the evidence that removing alcohol would in fact improve my life, because I could see it countless. There was actually, no stories of anybody who had given up alcohol and said that their life had gotten worse. It was always not only positive stories, but stories of rebirth, people pivoting and massively changing their life. And it was that content that I delved deep into, and I listened to hours and hours and hours of content, whether that be YouTube, podcasts, books, ebooks, and everything. What do they call it? Quit literature, quit lit. And I've had this feeling for a long time to want to give back to that community that gave me so much, and that's what this is about. And maybe even if it's one or two people that it helps in some way on their journey, then amazing. Then I've done what I set out to do. So, my name's Suj. I am from London. I'm 45 years old now. Like I said, coming up to 2 years alcohol-free. My personal journey or personal story with regards to alcohol is, a similar story to a lot of people that grow up in London of my age, or around that 35 to 45 years old mark. We've grown up in London, which is the traditional kind of London drinking culture from the age of 18, even earlier, where alcohol is showed to us as something to aim for. We've seen that. We see that, from a young age. We see it, around the people that we immediately associated with. Like my dad was a big drinker, an alcoholic really. But everywhere you look, the alcohol was seen as this thing, this gateway to adulthood and fun and discovery. And yeah, and just like everybody else, you want to fit in, and therefore you drink. And probably started drinking, a little bit. Maybe when I was 16, I would stay around a friend's house. We'd somehow get some alcohol, whether it's alcohol lying around the house or getting it from the local corner shop. And we'd drink in the park, or we'd drink in my friend's room, and we'd just get a bit tipsy, get a bit waved, as they say. And that was the beginning, right? And then into 18, you're legally allowed to drink, obviously, here in the UK. So the clubbing, pubs, that's when that starts. And it's exciting, it's fun, let's be honest, especially for someone like me who is probably a natural introvert, and therefore using alcohol to kind of come out of my shell was amazing, right? That first time when you start having a few drinks and you feel a bit loose, you start talking to people, you feel like you're finally finding yourself potentially. And my memory's a bit hazy if I'm going that far back. We're talking it's like 27 years, Jesus. So yeah, the memory's obviously a little bit hazy in terms of all of the details, but I do remember it being a jolly time. And I had a good close group of friends, and we did everything together on the weekends, and it was amazing, And then I went to university at the age of 19. I had my family where we grew up. Even though everybody and my friends were allowed out quite a lot, I personally wasn't. Me and my brother wasn't allowed out that much. We were quite, sheltered in a way, because we had to stay home and study, etc. While my friends were out gallivanting and doing whatever. Every time they came to knock on the door to ask me to come out, my mum would say, no, you've got to go up and study, right? So up until the age of 18, and up until the point I went to university, maybe, it was quite sheltered. So when you get to university and you're living out, I went to university in London, University College London, and yeah, your eyes are wide open. You see girls, you see clubs, you see pubs, you see booze, you see alcohol, and I went a little bit wild, I must admit, along with a lot of other people, and we really enjoyed ourselves during those three years. Lots of parties, lots of drinking, and then just going forward, continuing that trend, university, rolling into coming out of university, starting work. Again, the culture's still there. It's still work hard, play hard, that kind of culture. And I didn't really see anything wrong with it. And, I kept doing it. I kept drinking. And then there would be moments where bad things would happen. I'll be honest here on this video, but I lost my driving license at the age of 24 maybe, and at the time I was going out with my first love, I guess, and we had a very trying to figure out the word. I won't overcomplicate it, but we had a very combative relationship, which is fueled by the booze, amongst other things. And during that period of, I was out of university, I was kind of looking for work, but I was heavily drinking, probably more so than any other period in my 20s, 23, 24. But I ended up losing my driving license, had an argument with her. I stupidly jumped in the car and wanted to drove off, crashed, and I even tried to flee the scene because I was so scared. But I ended up losing my license at that point. But and there's loads of kind of instances in my 20s where things would happen. I'd end up in hospital because I got into a fight and got bashed over the head. And yeah, looking back, you think, wow, how much benefit did I actually get from drinking? And but yeah, we had the good times and fair share of kind of extreme occurrences and mishaps that happen along the way. That's all part and parcel of it, right? And you have all of the stories that you can go back to and reminisce on. Some boozy holidays, boozy everything, right? And in the midst of all of that, I did manage to still, get qualified as an accountant, climb my way up the ladder in an insurance company to, quite quickly to a fairly senior position, despite the fact I was boozing on the weekend. So, at those younger ages, I think when you're in your 20s and potentially your early 30s, the damage that you're doing through the booze is kind of softened a bit by the fact that you're young and you're mentally a bit more resilient because of that youth, potentially. I don't know. But it didn't seem to have as much in it. At the time, I didn't think it was having a negative impact on me. So you kept doing it, right? The thought of anybody saying, even though alcohol probably was a problem, thought of not drinking never really entered my head. So it kind of continued like that, right? And I had relationships, and I had a long relationship in between all of that, 14 years. And as that ended, and this was in my early 40s, the wheels come off a little bit more. And like I said, I've got a six-figure salary and bought a house. I've got all of those kind of external things that when you look at from the outside, you look and you think, oh my God, that guy's got his shit together. And also I was fairly active, pretty active actually, the gym, and boxing. I've been boxing since I was 29. It's been a huge part of my life. And I managed to do all of that through all the booze and through all the other things, right? So, yeah. But on the outside, people look at you and think, okay, he's got his shit together, he's getting on with it, he's got the job, he's got the house, he's got the lifestyle, But, coming into my early 40s, I had a period where I was out of work on purpose. I took some voluntary redundancy and I thought I was enjoying a well-deserved break. And this is post-COVID. My dad died just before that in 2020, and I was still kind of quite cut up off the back of my dad dying. And then I had COVID. And actually, if we go back to COVID, I was working fully in an office for 5 days a week before that, like a lot of people. Going into COVID, the relationship was breaking down. My part, to be honest, it was a relationship that was breaking down for a long time, but I was ending it, and we had this COVID lockdown and this thing and this ability to drink every day, and I leaned into that as an excuse to kind of, I can drink every day. And the shopping list every week was a couple of bottles of wine, a bottle of whiskey, loads of brew dogs, and every day 5 o'clock start to crack open that drink. Funnily enough, I was still exercising. I started running 10Ks during that period as well. I had a gym upstairs that I built. So in between the drinking, I was still exercising, drinking, working, all of this stuff, right? And I was still managing it, and I think mentally I was still managing it, and I was thinking I had everything under control. and this is how, this is the perfect way to live your life. However, I think deep down, I knew it wasn't okay. And yeah, came out of COVID, and my work still was 100% remote, and still living a similar lifestyle, weekend to weekend, drinking. My drinking became much more in the house after COVID. I started drinking after COVID. I started to drink the spirits, but before that I wasn't drinking spirits, and I started to drink the whiskey. I really liked the whiskey, and I really, was interested in trying different whiskies and things. So, yeah, I don't want to talk too much about, the downward spiral, but, if I speed it up a little bit, I'll say that COVID started bringing my drinking habits to a point which was unhealthy. Then I went back to work, sometimes in the office, but mostly remote. Then I had an offer of voluntary redundancy, which I took. And once I took that, it took 7 months and 7 months off nearly. And I really relaxed in a bad way. I started drinking. I started vaping, and the vaping and the drink wasn't a good combination. I met a girl, that girl I was in a relationship with only up until a few weeks ago, but it was a relationship that was started based on both on the fact that we both liked to drink. So, looking back, it was always a recipe for disaster. So we spent a lot of time traveling around, beaches, holidays, and alcohol was a big part of it. And we couldn't do anything without drink, right? You couldn't even go to the park to walk. My dog, he's down on the floor, I don't think you can see him. But yeah, we couldn't even go for a walk in the park without going to the shop and buying some drinks. So that period of 7 months was really bad for me. I started drinking a lot, and I got into a really bad space mentally. I wasn't performing in my job. The combination of the vape and the drink, and it continued like that. And mentally, I was like in a cloud all the time. I was always in a cloud, always overthinking, never feeling good, constantly waking up on a Monday morning, kind of almost looking for help, and feeling kind of disgusted with myself. And I'd spend a lot of Mondays, like in the days, and often in a Monday evening, just to take the edge off, I'd start drinking. But there was a period where I'd say I would potentially drink during the days, on weekends as well. If I have a heavy night on a Friday, I'll start drinking early on a Saturday, and it'll be like a continuous drink from Friday through till Sunday night, 10, maybe 11 o'clock sometimes, because I didn't want to face up to the reality of a life without the booze, right? So yeah, got into a bad space, and I could talk for hours, about this, which is not good, because this should be just a short video, right? But it doesn't have to be a short video, I suppose. We've got maybe a bit of time. I can give it another 20 minutes maybe. Let's just dig in a bit more. So why did I stop? I got into a bad space. I guess the question is, why did I stop? And stopping, for me, I think it was a thought a while ago, a long time ago, maybe around 2021, where I knew there was a problem with my drinking, and I used to picture my life without alcohol, and I had this thing in my head. I was thinking all the time, that drinking, if I stopped the drink, my life would be infinitely better. I knew it. Kind of deep down inside, I knew that my life would be infinitely better. And I can't remember when that was, but I started thinking like that. I did a dry Jan. I felt amazing. I continued that until maybe about the second week of Feb. And then for some reason I was sitting on the couch and I looked at the bottle of whiskey and I thought, oh, man, let me just have a drink. Had a drink, and from that point, for the next 2 years, I continued drinking. So that's the first time I thought, and that's the first time I started to listen to the literature, listen to the podcasts, and I found this space in Spotify or in podcasting for something that they were calling Sober Curious. And there was somebody talking about sober curiosity and the sober curious lifestyle. And it wasn't really alcohol free for good, it was more curiosity around sobriety. And I listened to that and I thought, wow, this is me, this is what I need. But it wasn't until, I think it was the end of, from a timeline perspective, I had this 7 months off. That took me till January 2023. In January 2023, I started working again, but in the midst of that work, I was drinking and vaping, and I couldn't do my job properly when I got back after that 7-month period, because I got myself in such a bad space in terms of my habits, and my mental state was falling apart. But I just kept on doing it. I was like, okay, I kept on going around this thing, and I had this 6-month contract, which was shockingly bad for me because the job wasn't within my experience. It's a lower job, lower grade in terms of what they wanted me to do, but it was, I couldn't do it to the best of my ability, and I had this mental chaos going on because of my lifestyle. And I was with this girl. She'd moved into my house. At that point, bad decision in hindsight, but I think everything's meant to be anyway. So when I say it's a bad decision, it's the right decision, really, because it got me to where I am. And we lived that lifestyle, like I was talking about. The drinking on the weekends and all the way through, and then Mondays is like such a hard day emotionally, and I'll probably start drinking again maybe Wednesday, Thursday. So there's only a couple of days that I wasn't drinking in the week, and even on those days you are nowhere near. You're probably about 30% of. If I look back at it, I was for a good period of that 2023 in a bad way, and it all ended up. We went to Ibiza on a 2-week break, where again my alcohol problem was evident. I could see how bad it was. I was hiding what I was doing. I'd go to breakfast and I'd drink. We were in an all-inclusive place in Ibiza, and you can easily disguise your drinking on a holiday like that. In the morning I'd have these mimosas, and I wouldn't even tell her that it was a mimosa. She'd think it was orange juice, right? Just to kind of wake up and get myself started, and then I'll be drinking solidly and vaping, drinking, and it got me so bad in my head. One night we had a huge argument, and I threw away the vape, and I said to myself, I'm never going to vape again, because at that point that was the one thing that was really, I think, was causing a lot of the cloudiness in my head. And I dropped the vape, and I never picked it up again after that point. So that was August 2023. We're in 2026 now. But then very soon after that, I come back from there, and I realized that something had to change. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to stop drinking. And I stopped drinking, I think in September 2023. And I had a good 7 weeks off. Amazing 7 weeks, and I got a lot of benefits out of it. Again, for me, whenever I stopped the drinking, I'd lean heavily into my other pursuits. So I do my boxing, might see some kind of stuff in the corner there, which is my boxing stuff, and I do heavily lean into the boxing during that period. And so a lot of exercise, better eating, and then I could see the benefits, right, for that 7 weeks. And these are the kind of traditional stuff that you're seeing: better sleep, better mood, you're firing on all cylinders, walking around saying that you feel amazing, right? And at that point I was thinking I was going to keep it going, right? And then, but you're not safe after 7 weeks. You still got, you haven't really done anything, right? I haven't gone through any of the usual scenarios really without booze. I just socialize less, exercise more, right? But that's not sustainable in the long term. And I was approaching obviously the holiday or Christmas season. My best friend was getting married, and that was a big occasion. And I said, look, and I was dancing with myself, and I was saying, look, you know what, let's try just drinking on special occasions. So I tried that, right? And then I'll be honest, that was early December, and I had 7 weeks off. And actually the day before the wedding, I had a bottle of wine because I didn't want to be too drunk on the Saturday. And if I have a bit of drink the day before, my stupid logic is that I won't. If I drink on the Saturday, I won't be as drunk. But anyway, either way, I drank that one bottle of wine easily. I drank it as fast as I normally drink. And come to the wedding, again, had a very merry time, drank a lot, danced a lot, had a good time. But that drinking continued again into the Sunday, and I had immediately gone back to bad habits. Fast forward through into the Christmas season, Christmas parties, very, very boozy, Christmas lunches, New Year's Eve, went to Dublin, and we overindulged in Dublin, and came back and I went skiing in the end of January, early Feb, drinking hard on the slopes, had a hip flask, I went all in. And when I came back, on the way back, actually while I was out there, my gran died, and so we were coming back to the funeral that was, we had to organize. And I had, on the way back from the ski trip, I had bought a bottle of whiskey just to get me through because I was feeling like complete shit. Came back, girlfriend was pissed off at me because of the state that I was in when I came home. And from that point, for another week, I was drinking every day, and drinking to the point where I was, I'd have to have, these bottles of wine on the way home from work, or I was in a bad place, and I got pulled up on it by my mum, and she had a word with me, my brother had a word with me, and it was at that point, that was the first, and I decided then and there, because nobody's ever had a word with me about it before. I decided then and there that I needed to stop, and I did stop. Sorry, I hit the maximum recording length on this camera, I think, half an hour. And so I'm starting again next day, just to finish this particular topic off, which is, I guess, just a summary of my journey before sobriety. How did I get there? How did I need to become alcohol free? And this video kind of summarized that. I want to go into a bit more depth into certain periods of my life, for my benefit and potentially for other people's benefit, in terms of some of my drinking habits, what happened, some of the events, some of the stories, maybe digging a bit deeper into why I need to drink through certain periods of my life. But yeah, now coming up to 2 years sober. It's now the 2nd of January 2026. Feeling really positive, feeling really good. The next video I want to do is really going to be about what this last couple of years have been like. The highs, which, a bit of a spoiler, mostly I'd say 90% highs, 10% lows. But it's been an amazing 2 years and a rebirth, definitely a rebirth. I feel like a totally different person. I'm not the person I ever was throughout my life. Right? I don't think this is a reset back to any period of my life where I was feeling on top of the world. This is actually an elevated place that I'm at in all aspects of life. We're talking physical health, mental health, my spiritual health, my relationships with the people I love, the relationship that I have with my dog, my financial health, how I'm performing at work, the other things, that kind of business interest that I might talk about shortly in terms of me starting a new business. All I can say it's been transformative, a rebirth, and I look forward to sharing more details, about the benefits, about my future, about what amazing things have happened, are happening to me, and also the lows. I have to be frank. Removing alcohol from your life isn't a cure for any of the problems that you have. It might alleviate. I was thinking about this today, that I think removing alcohol will improve some of the physical and cognitive damage that you've done. You can reverse that, and that's something just by removing alcohol and not drinking, you're going to get those benefits. But it's not going to automatically fix whatever else is broken. The things that I had broken underneath, I had to then go about, and I'm still in that process, right? I'm a work in progress. But what removing alcohol does, the first thing it does help with the physical and the mental damage that you've done over a period of time. As that repairs, and you get more time, you feel better about yourself, you're then in a much better position to deal with the problems that you had. You actually not only just deal with them, but you're able to be honest with yourself about what is going wrong in your life, what are the things that you need to pay attention to. And then it's like a massive to-do list, right? And then removing alcohol gives you the space to identify what those problems are. And then on top of that, you can start to fix them one by one, So that's just a bit of a disclaimer in terms of removing alcohol is not the sole solution to the things that were causing me distress and problems. I was using alcohol as a tool an ineffective tool, but for me, I thought it was a tool to deal with whatever issues and problems that I was having. But what ultimately alcohol gave me was additional problems. I'm going to leave this video at that point, and hopefully this information is insightful. And it's my first video, and I feel like a bit of a fool to say anything, but put some comments down below. Let's see if this content is useful, and I'm looking forward to kind of cracking on and cracking on with my journey and sharing this journey with whoever wants to watch and whoever wants to listen. Okay, thank you. Cheers.